They watched me stumble and believed it was the end of my story. But in that moment, I was just tying my shoelaces tighter, preparing to run even faster. Regardless of how people felt of me at that time, I knew I had to make it. Not for them, but for me. When I realized a lot of people confused my confidence for arrogance. What they don't understand, they don't realize the process that I went through and how much I had to believe in myself at a time when nobody else did to make a lot of things happen in my life. When I was finally in a good space, I realized some things are just meant to be and to happen if you believe in yourself. The strongest ones in life are not those ones that show strength in front of you. The strongest ones are the ones that overcome battles you know nothing about. Understand this. I'm not where I want to be, but I thank the higher power every day. I'm not where I used to be. So let me be clear about something. I don't give a fuck who talks about me behind my back. They ain't gonna say it to my face, so definitely ain't gonna do nothing about it. So they can stay right where they belong, behind me. But if you want some, come get some. The end of every story has a beginning. And this is the beginning of my journey. And hopefully will give you a deeper understanding of just who I was and how I got to this point. And over this next period of 15 episodes, you're going to hear a lot of things that will probably shock you. You're going to hear from people who were there, who had the same circumstances as me. And hopefully, by the end of this story, this journey, you'll have a deeper understanding and just know a little about who I am. Many of you think you know who I am, but you only know my name. You don't know my story. But here's how it begins. Gang life. Anybody that thinks there's loyalty in this game, understand, there's not. Back then we had a code and there was consequences. And if you broke that loyalty, but nowadays, anyone that's attracted to this lifestyle, the money, the success, understand. You get jammed up, you're locked down, you're all alone. All those homies you thought had your back, they ain't coming to save you. It's you by yourself in that jail.
For 14 years, and I currently handle our violent gang. So many young people, even if they're not in gangs, make split-second decisions, right, that aren't always good. And
serious to the point where he had to do American History X on him. So anyone that's seen that movie, we're guys that were kind of forced, so to speak, into that life, whether you like it or not, unfortunately. You know, and we're both lucky to kind of be where we are too today. Cause
it was going to be a point where they were going to sit there and say, you know what, man, my bad.
Yeah.
But it was never a situation I looked at that we were walking into a building and going, yo, let's throw the fuck down. Like, it was, we're not going to run like cowards or chickens with our head between our tails if the 20 come to 4. Because our mentality was, okay, if the 20 come to 4, you better make sure that we're all dead. I built this shit. Me. You think I'm just going to forget what they did? Let me ask you a question. What good is power if you cannot protect the ones you love? They came for everything that I love. They came for my empire. And when you play in this Game of Thrones, there's only 2 choices. You either live or you die. There is no middle ground. You leave one wolf alive, and the sheep are never safe. So either we fight and die, or we submit and die. How far would you go to protect the ones you love? What would you do if someone was hunting to kill you and your family? Would you run away, or would you stand and fight?
If he's fighting to protect, and that's hard.
Pretty much 3 against like 6. So something's about to happen.
they wanted what?
He gives me his jacket, gives me his watch, and then these 2 guys are about to square up. I need to go home. So whatever you plan on doing, do this real quick because I'm not holding this stuff. You need to get this over with real quick. It wasn't real quick.
You know, 2-3 guys by himself.
Try this at home.
He did.
It's enough and just one nice boom, he goes down.
As he finished destroying these guys, and you can hear the bop, bop, bam, and that's people just landed on the ground and stone cold stunners and
talking about almost killing someone in self-defense.
I do what I gotta do, and you do what you gotta do.
He was innocent and didn't have a choice, but if he would have caught him, he would have died. That was a situation where he had portions up his ass, and I'm glad, obviously, because that was crazy. They were hunting him for a while.
Which seems to be where he ended up with the name DTEFLON, because it seems like, I mean, this is one example of this kind of fate or issue that he's been through with other people, and he's like somehow continuously overcome.
For many years, people wanted me to do this, and I didn't really feel, one, do I really want to share this part of my life and the story and just be that vulnerable to open up? Is it going to be a day that I'm going to end up like, you know, in some situation that I can't get out of?
You know, like they're grabbing cue sticks and to deal with all this shit, his home life, you know, and all these other things. Like, you know, from where he's come to where he is now, statistically, he either should be dead or in a serious, like, gang member type thing, so to speak. If you look at all the things that transpired in those years.
Yeah, wow.
But he protected me a lot, so my friends and I didn't have to put up with anything. And he made sure that we were safe. If we were harassed, throw them out.
That 10-year stretch, give or take, I probably was the one guy that ended up knowing almost every single thing.
And I'm hoping with those who watch this, those who see this, those that see it in its final entirety, either maybe be inspired, or maybe can help, or maybe can guide someone who may have possibly going through some hard times, some situations that they feel that they can't overcome. And hopefully, you know, if there's one person that it can inspire, then we'll see. We'll see if the job is done.
He had a smile on his face. It didn't matter what was going on. He was always attentive to the people that he cared about.
In this generation, it's so hard to find real people. And he's never, the only thing that's changed about Dee is that he's more protective of himself.
You who are positive influences in the world and have a great vibe.
He's always been tough, but I would say he's a lot tougher now with his boundaries. And he's more vocal about, nah, I'm not going to put up with that shit. I don't have time for that in my life. So I feel like he's changed in that he's quicker to dump the bullshit and cut the people out of his life who are trying to bleed him dry. So, yeah.
You can't bring back the ones you love. But what you can do, the best way to honor their memory, is by helping others. I knew after that night, everything changed, and we were at war. And as the body count rose, I knew this only was going to end one way. I knew what I needed to do next. This had to end. This had to end now. The day I got stabbed, I realized the difference between dying for something and dying for nothing. I realized the only reason why I fought so hard to stay alive that day was because I didn't want to die for nothing. But today, I can die for something. My way, my choice.